Episode 56 GP July 29, 2023. Don't trust federal U.S. government wood-burning regulations under 35. Use a complaint-based system instead. Don't trust federal U.S. government wood-burning regulations under 35 years ago. RAWSE Presidents is asking you, the reader, to contact the 10 Attorney Generals to request that certification of wood stoves as safe should be replaced by a complaint-based system, using $249 resident-owned Purple Air PM 2.5 monitors, handed out free by governments, either federal, state or local health departments, for instance. In the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners who have complained of PM 2.5 entering the yards and infiltrating the homes of the near neighbors. From the top down, from the federal government down, this kind of system should exist or be suggested to exist on a state or local level by the federal government. Now complaints about indoor residential wood stove pollution are not answered by federal, state, or local governments if the wood stove is certified. The certification of indoor residential wood stoves is flawed, as the Office of the Inspector General, OIG, watchdog of the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, stated in his February 2023 report. RAWSE Presidents believes that flawed certification with no promised changes by the EPA until 2027 results in preventable air pollution, so another method must be implemented from the top down, at the federal level. And only then will states and localities feel they have the authority to vigorously pursue complaints about air pollution from indoor residential wood burning using the scientific PM 2.5 monitor method of measuring emissions to detect if pollution levels are above EPA safe. PM 2.5 limits of 8 micrograms per meter cubed annually or 25 micrograms per meter cubed daily, spike readings, at the stack or fence line of indoor wood burning stacks, which would be in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners, using Purple Air PM 2.5 monitors, which are already used on U.S. AirNow maps of smoke and fire, alongside U.S. EPA regulatory PM 2.5 monitors correlated to U.S. regulatory monitors with a simple mathematical formula. Purple Air monitors on the AirNow map of smoke and fire have been consulted by hundreds of millions of Americans the last few months to see what the air quality was in their areas during the long periods when Canadian wildfire wood smoke infiltrated many areas of the United States, halting outdoor activities and causing illness and lost productivity at work. Besides having health effects, if near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners work from home, as has become prevalent in the COVID era, the livelihoods of these near neighbors has also been impacted by wood smoke pollution in the form of PM 2.5 in their yards and infiltrating the homes they work in. 1988, 35 years ago this year, the EPA started using new source performance standards for indoor wood heating appliances, in effect saying there was a safe level of pollutants from some certified wood stoves. 2009 is the year the European Union formally declared wood burning carbon neutral. 2018 was the year the United States officially declared wood burning carbon neutral. When a method of heating is declared carbon neutral, any carbon emissions are ignored and not counted. This makes the calculation of pollution on paper convenient for nations of the world that are looking to meet climate goals. If you can count only fossil fuel pollution emissions and ignore wood burning pollution emissions, and then you switch from fossil fuels to wood burning, your nation looks on paper to be meeting climate goals and reducing pollution. The problem is that in reality, this calculation on paper doesn't help stop pollution or help slow climate change. Sometimes the general public is bored to tears with a subject, and that subject could very well be indoor residential wood stove certification. Why would the U.S. government in the modern era start certifying, in 1988, a method of home heating as safe that was antiquated and unpopular for the very reason that it was unsafe compared to other methods of home heating such as the natural gas furnaces prevalent in 1988? And why haven't the 1988 New Source Performance Standards, NSPS, for residential wood stoves been meaningfully updated since that year, 35 years ago? That is one question that the 10 state attorney generals are asking the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, in their June 2023 threat of a suit to commence in August 2023 if the EPA does not act to improve the NSPS by August 2023. The 10 attorney generals are not questioning that safe wood stove certification should even exist, but the 10 attorney generals really should question the existence of safe wood stove certification as an effective method to control wood stove pollution. In 1988, 35 years ago, the EPA issued the first emissions standards for particulate matter for new wood heaters. There are essentially two parties involved with the EPA: state regulators in the United States, such as state attorney generals requesting updates to NSPS, and the Hearth, Patio and Barbecue Association slowing the process of change with its lawsuits and lobbying against any tightening of regulations of indoor residential wood stove certification. What the 10 attorney generals are interested in is that EPA does not plan to start implementing regulatory revisions until 2024 apart from updated training, the creation of additional certification information, and lists of wood heaters certified with withdrawn tests. The EPA outlines a serial process of updating test methods, starting in 2024, but does not plan to finalize new performance standards until November 30, 2027. The regulators in the states, such as the state attorney generals, repeatedly state that revisions must be made every 8 years, which would be 2023, since the last revisions were made in 2015. Based on a recent review, the Northeast States for Coordinated Air Use Management and the Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation found that EPA's certification program did not assure that new wood heaters, subject to the 2015 performance standards, are cleaner than devices sold under the 1988 performance standards. https://www.epa.gov/residential-wood-heaters/compliance-residential-wood-heaters. The 1988 New Source Performance Standards, NSPS, for residential wood heaters required manufacturers of wood stoves to certify that each model line of wood stoves offered for sale in the United States complied with the EPA particulate emissions guidelines in the Clean Air Act. As part of the certification process, each wood stove model line was required to undergo emissions testing in accordance with EPA Reference Method 28 and sampling methods 5G or 5H by an EPA-accredited laboratory. Only after successfully passing these tests could a wood stove be offered for sale in the United States. What follows is an overview of the EPA's response to requests for changing the 2015 NSPS for residential wood stoves. A July 26, 2023, letter from an Assistant Attorney General of Washington State says, in part, excerpts edited by ROSEP for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. Our office recently signed a letter as part of a multi-state coalition notifying the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, of our intent to sue EPA for failing to timely review and revise the new source performance standards for residential wood heaters under the Federal Clean Air Act. If EPA does not take action to address this failure within 60 days of receipt of our letter, then we will proceed in filing a lawsuit. The June 29, 2023, letter from the 10 Attorney Generals to the EPA says, in part, excerpts edited by ROSEP for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. Mainly, rule numbers and case numbers have been deleted. The entire June 29, 2023, letter from the 10 Attorney Generals to the EPA is available as a PDF on the RAWSE President's website. July 2023 PDFs of URLs named Episode 56 GPA. Attorneys General of New York, Alaska, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington, and the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency. June 29, 2023. New Source Performance Standards for Residential Wood-Burning Heaters. Notice of Intent to Sue. Dear Administrator Reagan, collectively, the states provide notice of their intent to sue the United States Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, for failing to timely review and revise the new source performance standards for residential wood heaters under the Clean Air Act. Under the Clean Air Act, EPA must review the 2015 performance standards to determine if they are adequate to protect public health. This letter provides 60 days notice of the state's intent to file a lawsuit, by August 28, 2023, for EPA's failure to perform a mandatory duty under the statute. 1. The Clean Air Act requires EPA to list categories of stationary sources that cause, or contribute significantly to, air pollution which may reasonably be anticipated to endanger public health and welfare. 1. EPA must review and, as appropriate, revise the standards for stationary sources at least every 8 years based on the best technological system of continuous emission reduction. 2. In 1988, EPA issued the first emission standards for particulate matter for new wood heaters. 3. In 2013, New York, Connecticut, Maryland, Massachusetts, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency sued EPA to update these standards. In 2014, the parties entered into a partial consent decree, in which EPA agreed to issue updated performance standards by dates certain. On March 16, 2015, EPA issued a final rule with two sets of updated performance standards for wood heaters. For that rule had an effective date of May 15, 2015, on which the first set of updated standards went into effect. The second, more stringent set of the 2015 standards, with lower levels of particulate matter emissions, went into effect on May 15, 2020. The same day that EPA issued the final performance standards, a Wood Heaters Trade Association challenged the rule in the D.C. Circuit. The Wood Heaters Trade Association later limited its challenge to EPA's compliance audit testing provisions. In response, the states of New York, Alaska, Connecticut, Illinois, Maryland, Minnesota, New Jersey, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington, and the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency filed an amicus, friend of the court, brief in support of EPA. In that brief, Amici described the negative health impacts of wood smoke on residents of Amici states. Amici argued that the audit testing was necessary because, as determined by the Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation, the majority of certifications had inaccurate data and non-representative testing methods. These errors allowed wood heaters to receive certifications without gaining the real benefits. See petition at 1, Hearth, Patio and Barbecue Association. v. EPA, DCCIR March 16, 2015. See petitioner's brief at 1, Hearth, Patio and Barbecue Association. v. EPA, DCCIR June 25, 2020. See corrected amicus brief at 1, Hearth, Patio and Barbecue Association. v. EPA, DCCIR September 21, 2020, of stricter emissions limits. The D.C. Circuit upheld the regulations. While knowing of these issues, EPA has failed to take steps to review and update its standards, despite the requirements of 42 U.S.C. Section 7411, B.1, B.2, Public Health Hazards from Wood Smoke as EPA acknowledged in the 2015 performance standards. Wood smoke contains fine particulate matter, PM2.5, carbon monoxide, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and other toxic air pollutants. All of these compounds negatively impact public health. Of direct relevance to the performance standards, wood smoke contains PM2.5, which causes an array of adverse health impacts. Acknowledging those harmful impacts, EPA recently proposed to strengthen the National Ambient Air Quality Standards, NOx, for PM2.5. In doing so, EPA documented a causal relationship between PM2.5 exposure and mortality and cardiovascular effects. Multiple studies also confirm adverse health impacts of PM2.5 exposure, including PM2.5 exposure effects on cancer rates, dementia rates, and childhood lung function. 1912 Hearth, Patio and Barbecue Association v. EPA, DCCIR 2021, March 16, 2015. Lung adenocarcinoma promotion by air pollutants, 616 Nature 159-167, 2023, available at https://www.nature.com/articles/S41586-023-05874-318 Ambient air pollution and clinical dementia. Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis, 2023 BMJ 381, 2023, available at https://www.bmj.com/content/381/bmj-2022-071620. 19 Prenatal ambient air pollutant mixture exposure and early school-age lung function, 2023 Environmental Epidemiology 7, 2, 2023, available at https://www.ncbi.nlm.nih.gov/pmc/articles/pmc100975775/. For further, PM2.5 exposure is particularly harmful to environmental justice communities. As the 2015 rule acknowledged, residential wood smoke can contribute to unhealthy levels of PM2.5 in many neighborhoods nationwide, including in minority and low-income neighborhoods. 21 environmental justice communities are exposed to higher levels of air pollution. 22 and may be more susceptible to its ill effects. 23 Congress mandated that EPA review, and as necessary, revise the standards every 8 years to ensure that these communities do not have to bear the pollution burden of ineffective standards. 24.3. EPA's ineffective wood heater testing and certification program. In addition to failing to timely review and update the performance standards for PM 2.5, EPA's wood heater testing and certification program to implement the performance standards is failing to ensure that new wood heaters comply with emission limits. 25. As explained below, the current program does not provide reasonable assurance that wood heaters are properly tested and certified before reaching consumers. 26. Revising the 2015 Performance Standards for Wood Heaters. 20C Executive Order, February 16, 1994, identify and address disproportionately high and adverse human health or environmental effects of their policies on minority populations and low-income populations. 24. The Act's purpose is to protect and enhance the quality of the nation's air resources so as to promote the public health and welfare and the productive capacity of its population. 25 Northeast States for Coordinated Air Use Management, Assessment of EPA's Residential Wood Heater Certification Program, March 2021, https://www.nesciaum.org/documents/nesciaum-review-of-rwh-nsbs-certification program-rev-3-3021.pdf. 26 U.S. EPA Office of Inspector General. The EPA's Residential Wood Heater Program does not provide reasonable assurance that heaters are properly tested and certified before reaching consumers. At a glance, February 28, 2023, 5 presents an important opportunity for EPA to set clear testing and reporting expectations for wood heaters to address this pervasive problem. Following initial concerns that EPA's wood heater certification program was not well functioning, the Northeast States for Coordinated Air Use Management 27 and the Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation coordinated review of over 250 certified wood heaters. 28 The study evaluated EPA's compliance program with the 2015 performance standards. 29 The study identified deficiencies in all reviewed test reports. 30 Manufacturers must seek certification of compliance with the performance standards for each model line, based on a test report from a designated laboratory. 31 Many of the wood heater models did not have publicly available certification test reports, violating the regulations implementing the performance standards. 32 The study did not find any of the other reports to be complete and in full compliance with regulatory requirements. 33 Based on this review, the Northeast States for Coordinated Air Use Management and the Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation found that EPA's certification program did not assure that new wood heaters, subject to the 2015 performance standards, are cleaner than devices sold under the 1988 performance standards. https://www.epa.gov/system/files/documents/2023-03 EPAWIG 20230228-23E00122.pdf. 27 Northeast States for Coordinated Air Use Management is a nonprofit association that provides scientific, analytical, and policy support to air quality agencies in Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, and Vermont. Northeast States for Coordinated Air Use Management, NESCOM, About Us, https://www.nesciaum.org/about-us, last visited May 16, 2023. 28 Northeast States for Coordinated Air Use Management, Assessment of EPA's Residential Wood Heater Certification Program, March 2021. 32 Northeast States for Coordinated Air Use Management, Assessment of EPA's Residential Wood Heater Certification Program, March 2021. 34 The study found that EPA's failures stem from unclear test methods, an ineffective third-party certification review process, and a lack of audits. 35 As a result, the program cannot ensure that wood heaters satisfy the 2015 performance standards. 36 If newer wood heaters do not meet cleaner standards, then programs to change out old wood heaters may provide little health benefits at significant public cost. 37 EPA's Office of Inspector General corroborated the study's findings, determining that EPA's residential wood heater program does not provide Reasonable assurance that wood heaters are properly tested and certified before reaching consumers. 38. It found that EPA lacks internal controls to ensure that certification tests are appropriately conducted because it lacks procedures to review test reports, does not conduct audit tests, does not have standard templates for test reports, does not use staff with appropriate expertise, and has not exercised oversight authority. 39. Furthermore, the Inspector General found that the 2015 performance standards have unclear expectations for test procedures and documentation, which leads to testing labs and manufacturers using their own interpretations, like obscuring failing test runs as invalid and not reporting them. 40. Certification test methods also contain vague language, create imprecise expectations for what fuel must be used during testing, and do not represent real-world conditions. 41. Indeed, EPA itself has withdrawn multiple test methods after they were demonstrated to be ineffective. 38. U.S. EPA Office of Inspector General. The EPA's residential wood heater program does not provide reasonable assurance that heaters are properly tested and certified before reaching consumers. At a glance, February 28, 2023. 7. Performance standards. Wood heaters certified with those tests continue to have valid certificates of compliance that will not be re-evaluated until those certificates expire, as late as 2027. 43. Those wood heaters remain available for sale, and could remain in homes, causing harm to residents of nearby communities, for decades. 44. In response to the Inspector General report, EPA acknowledged deficiencies in its program. 45. Apart from updated training, the creation of additional certification information, and lists of wood heaters certified with withdrawn tests, EPA does not plan to start implementing regulatory revisions until 2024. 46. EPA outlines a serial process of updating test methods, starting in 2024, but does not plan to finalize new performance standards until November 30, 2027. 47. Even these timelines may be optimistic, as EPA has stated that it does not have hard deadlines for reaching these milestones. 48. EPA's uncommitted proposal will take years longer than its statutory deadline, does not explain why EPA cannot work on some of the regulatory updates, such as testing requirements, in parallel, and continues to allow the sale of wood heaters with flawed certifications and certification of improperly tested devices, in the meantime. In sum, as currently implemented, EPA's program allows continued sale of high-emitting wood heaters. 49. Many of these devices will be installed in communities that are overburdened by environmental harms and other inequities, further exacerbating environmental justice issues. 50. EPA must address the systemic problems with its wood heater certification program when revising the 2015 performance standards. 4. Notice of intent to sue. 43. 45. U.S. EPA. Response to Office of Inspector General Final Report, April 28, 2023. 49. NESCOM, Assessment of EPA's Residential Wood Heater Certification Program, March 2021. 50. Requires EPA to undertake a notice and comment rulemaking to review and, if appropriate, revise each performance standard at least once every 8 years, and take into account emission limitations and % reductions achieved in practice, in cases where those emission reductions exceed those required by existing performance standards. Although the current emission standards for wood heaters have been in place since May 2015, EPA has not even started the required notice and comment rulemaking proceeding to review the scope or stringency of those standards and make the necessary revisions to ensure they result in actual emissions reductions. EPA is required to review, and as appropriate, revise its regulations to ensure the best technological system of continuous emission reduction. 51. Without accurate testing and certification, there is no way to ensure that the wood heaters meet these standards. The states accordingly request that EPA promptly propose and finalize revised performance standards for wood heaters. The states also request that EPA promptly revise the testing and certification process for those wood heaters. This letter constitutes notice, from the states, of their intent to commence a civil action to enforce the act due to EPA's failure to undertake these non-discretionary duties. End of 10 Attorney General's June 29, 2023, letter excerpts. The entire letter can be found at episode 56 GPA. Rosupview, 1988 is also the year when wood stoves began to be pushed as an alternative for home heating. Because wood burning as carbon neutral was spoken of in non-scientific political circles for years and finally designated by politicians in 2018 to be carbon neutral, the same politicians felt free to call wood burning renewable. There are real clean renewables such as wind, solar, geothermal and hydropower, where taking the energy from wind, the sun, the warm earth and water does not diminish the elements of wind, the sun, earth and water that are used. However, trees are felled and consumed when wood is burned. If a tree is planted in the place of the dead tree, it takes decades or centuries for the tree to attain the capacity to absorb carbon and emit oxygen at the level of the missing tree. In the decades or centuries in between, pollution from burning the tree has still happened. Scientists dispute that wood burning is carbon neutral. It is also common sense to see that wood burning is polluting. Human senses of sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch can easily detect that wood burning is not good for human health. If someone is trapped in a burning wood building, often the occupants die from smoke inhalation more quickly than being burned alive. In the process, humans are alerted to the danger of wood smoke by what they see: flames consuming living things, hear, crackling of living things as they burn, taste, the particulates invading the airways through the mouth, smell, the particulates having an ashen smell, and touch, the flames being too hot to touch. We become desensitized in the past 35 years to the protective senses of our own human bodies, or more likely, has the advertising of the wood stove industry deliberately pushed a product that is inherently dangerous, inefficient and polluting compared with alternatives for residential heating? The incentives for the biomass, wood burning, plant industries are clear: taxpayer subsidies for biomass, wood burning, plants and subsidies for carbon capture projects without end, never attaining a solution to the problems of wood-burning carbon emissions. It is profitable for the wood-burning industry to be the alternative to fossil fuel burning, but wood burning is more polluting than fossil fuel burning. The few are enriched and the rest of the world is worse off in terms of pollution and hastening climate change. Short-term gain for the few in exchange for real enduring problems for the rest of the world is what happens because of subsidies for biomass, wood, burning plants and subsidies for futile and expensive to the taxpayer attempts at carbon capture at those biomass, wood, burning plants. Maybe we didn't have enough alternatives to biomass, wood, burning and fossil fuel burning in the past, especially as far back as 1988. But in 2023 wind and solar energy are becoming more plentiful and cheaper every day. The government today has provided incentives to move away from indoor residential wood burning for heat. Residential heating with heat pumps that work at temperatures down to 40 degrees below zero Fahrenheit are available with U.S. government subsidies, and if a smart electric grid is built to all rural areas powered by wind and solar, there could be a future where home heating could have no polluting emissions. The U.S. government has to take the enormous subsidies they are putting into biomass, wood burning, plants and futile carbon capture, and put that taxpayer money into building wind and solar up in the United States. Rosep view. The unscientific, expensive morass of carbon neutrality. The unscientific, political, reasons given for the carbon neutral designation is that even if there are real carbon emissions from wood burning, those real carbon emissions, CO2 and PM2.5, are negated by the fact that a tree can grow in place of a tree that is cut down and burned. In contrast, you cannot plant fossil fuels and expect them to grow into new fossil fuels. This designation of wood burning as carbon neutral is a political construct, not a scientific idea. Scientists have disputed the designation of wood burning as carbon neutral for years. Rosep has referred to letters from scientists refuting that carbon neutrality is scientific in 3 important letters from scientists to U.S. Congress in 2010, 2019, and 2022. RAWSE President's Episode 56 GA July 12, 2023, Scientists' Letters Telling EU 2021 and US 2020 to Stop Wood Burning. The carbon-neutral designation is useful for politicians because although they may be forced to end fossil fuel in power plants, they can switch those power plants to biomass, wood burning, and please constituents who worked in the fossil fuel industry who now just switch to the wood burning industry. Although wood burning is cost-intensive and does not pay for itself, the U.S. government provides subsidies using taxpayer money for all biomass, wood burning, plants in the U.S., as do other governments all over the world. The U.S. government also provides subsidies to biomass, wood burning, plants for carbon capture projects which have been in the research stage for decades, because there is no example of carbon capture that works at any biomass, wood burning, plant in the United States. By conceding the need for carbon capture, biomass, wood burning, plants are admitting that without useful carbon capture, their emissions are highly polluting. There is no useful carbon capture, even after U.S. taxpayer money has subsidized carbon capture for decades. So biomass, wood burning, plants remain highly polluting. Wood burning emits more CO2 and PM2.5 than the fossil fuel coal burning. Wood burning emits 450 times the PM2.5 as natural gas burning. Alaska, Fairbanks. Rozep view. It is odd that one part of Alaska, the Commissioner of the Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation, DEC, is asking that the EPA allows Fairbanks more time to comply with wood stove regulations, an extra year, while another part of the government of Alaska, the Attorney General, joined 10-state threatened lawsuit against the EPA to make the EPA act sooner, in 2023 rather than 2027, to update the new source performance standards for indoor residential wood stoves. The article below is about what the Alaska DEC would like from the EPA. The Alaska DEC is asking for another year, until 2024, to come up with a plan to address the long-standing problem of particulate air pollution in the Fairbanks North Star Borough. It is also odd that an illustration in this article states that Fairbanks, Alaska, got down to 41 degrees below zero Fahrenheit in 2012. Heat pumps are advertised to work at down to 40 degrees below degrees Fahrenheit. Does this fact that Alaska in 2012 got to 1 degree below the advertised range of heat pumps, set up an Alaska Beacon or Alaska DEC argument that no heat pumps should be used to replace indoor residential wood burning? Setting Alaska up to fail, because heat pumps are impossible by 1 little degree in Alaska? With climate change hitting the lowest temperature of 2012, 41 degrees below zero Fahrenheit, in the future is not likely. Instead there will be more global warming next year, so that argument against replacing indoor residential wood burning with heat pumps should go up in wood smoke. The Commissioner of the Alaska DEC wants another year to revise its entire wood smoke pollution plus other air pollution State Implementation Plan (SIP). Why not submit the wood stove portion of the plan now, since the DEC argues that wood smoke pollution is the main pollution problem, more than fossil fuel pollution? Surely this SIP for the wood smoke portion has been exhaustively planned, since it is considered by the DEC the main area of pollution. The director of the Alaska DEC wants to forget about fossil fuel pollution, which surely does exist in Fairbanks, Alaska. The reason is economics. He does not want to burden the Alaska taxpayer with cleaning up secondary but still existing pollution. The director of the DEC gives these reasons for not preparing the entire SIP, including wood smoke and fossil fuel emissions, on time because 1. Compliance with air quality regulations is a heavier lift than for the lower 48 states. 2. The Alpaca study shows valleys have inversions that are not modifiable, so the director is giving up on compliance because of that factor. There are valleys in the lower 48 states, also, so it is not unique that inversions happen in Alaska. They happen elsewhere, too. From the article, a spokesperson for EPA's Seattle-based regional office said the agency will consider new scientific information as it works through the new plan for Fairbanks. This presumably means that the Alpaca report on the valley inversions will be worked through by the EPA when Alaska finally submits its SIP. It would seem with existing problems, the cost of complying would not be a prohibitive factor, since if the air is not breathable, it affects the economy of Alaska in a negative way. The sooner there is a plan and compliance with the plant, the sooner there will be a solution to the air pollution in Fairbanks. There must be pushback from fossil fuel companies on the director of DEC to ignore pollution from fossil fuel sources, and pressure by wood stove users not to submit the SIP this year and not to enforce compliance with the wood stove portion of the SIP in a timely manner. The article states in its evaluation, the EPA said the state needed to require the best available technology at those sites of pollution, or, in the alternative, provide justification for not requiring that technology. This seems a reasonable request from a federal environmental protection agency. The Alaska DEC seems to think this would be cost prohibitive. United States. Alaska, Fairbanks. Alaska seeks more time to submit air quality plan for particulate-plagued Fairbanks. Alaska Beacon. Wood-burning stoves have caused much of the problem. Wintertime particulate pollution is from smoke from wood stoves used for home heating, and the Fairbanks North Star Borough has struggled for several years with particulate pollution and its health effects. Wood-burning stoves have. Alaska seeks more time to submit air quality plan for particulate-plagued Fairbanks. The Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation is asking for another year to come up with a plan to address the long-standing problem of particulate air pollution in the Fairbanks North Star Borough. Alaska seeks more time to submit air quality plan for particulate-plagued Fairbanks. July 28, 2023. Smokestack emissions into Fairbanks atmosphere are seen on March 1, 2023, from the University of Alaska Fairbanks campus. The Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation is asking for another year to come up with a plan to address the long-standing problem of particulate air pollution in the Fairbanks North Star Borough. In a letter sent to the Environmental Protection Agency's Pacific Northwest Administrator, the DEC Commissioner asked for the extension and said the federal agency's proposed requirement for better pollution controls at Fairbanks area power plants and other large sites will drive up the local cost of living without providing meaningful environmental benefits. Excerpts edited by ROSEP for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. Because of the fine particulates that are frequently trapped in stagnant air created by Fairbanks' wintertime atmospheric inversions, the borough has been out of compliance with Clean Air Act standards for 2 decades. Addressing the non-compliance for particulate pollution requires the periodic state improvement plans to be submitted to the EPA. The modeling information of all sources of pollution is from collaborative research project called the Alaskan Layered Pollution and Chemical Analysis, or ALPACA. The EPA had a mixed verdict on the latest state improvement plan, SIP. The EPA in December proposed partial rejection of the plan, citing a failure to address air pollution created by coal-fired or oil-fired power plants and other large sites categorized as point source emitters. Wood-burning stoves have been major sources of particulate pollution. The state position is that most of the Fairbanks area wintertime particulate pollution is from smoke from wood stoves used for home heating and that the improvement plan should focus squarely on that. In the community of North Pole, a part of the borough especially affected by particulate pollution, 60% to 80% is from wood-burning stoves, according to the DEC news release issued Tuesday. Over the past 2 decades, Fairbanks wood stove pollution has remained above Clean Air Act standards. Solving the Fairbanks North Star Borough's air pollution problems will be difficult, warns the ALPACA study. Mexico, Yucatan Peninsula, Tulum. ROSEP view, these Mayan wood stoves were replaced by other wood stoves, but hopefully for the residents involved, there will be incremental improvement of the air quality in their homes when using a wood-burning stove. Wood burning is still highly polluting, and since eco-design is state-of-the-art, these new wood stoves probably emit more CO2 and PM2.5 than coal burning, and probably emit 450 times the PM2.5 as natural gas burning. Mayan homes in 5 Tulum communities outfitted with ecological stoves. Riviera Maya News. The stoves are part of an ongoing program to eliminate the use of open and unventilated wood-burning practices. On Thursday, around 250 Mayan, Mexico, Tulum. More than 200 Mayan homes are being outfitted with ecological stoves. The stoves are part of an ongoing program to eliminate the use of open and unventilated wood-burning practices. On Thursday, around 250 Mayan homes were earmarked to receive the new stoves. Mayan homes in 5 Tulum communities outfitted with ecological stoves. July 28, 2023. Tulum News. Tulum, Quintana Roo. More than 200 Mayan homes are being outfitted with ecological stoves. The stoves are part of an ongoing program to eliminate the use of open and unventilated wood-burning practices. 250 Mayan homes were earmarked to receive the new stoves. The stoves are being delivered thanks to an alliance between the Tulum City Council and the Soriana Foundation. Excerpts edited by ROSEP for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. The 250 stoves are being installed in homes in 5 Mayan communities around Tulum. The Tulum mayor and Mayan deputy led the delivery of stoves. Ecological stoves respect the culture and traditions of the Mayan communities. The director of Soriana Foundation, Claudia Aguado, said there were 2 main advantages. The first is a reduction of 60% in firewood required to cook, and the second, to take care of the health of the people who cook. The stoves use less wood and have exhausts to remove the smoke. The stoves were donated due to a request by the Tulum mayor to the president of Soriana Foundation. The ecological stoves are provided by the company Fuego Limpio and are made of reinforced concrete. The stoves have a 3 mm thick metal plate and removable rings so it can be used as a griddle. The stoves require a lot less wood compared to traditional methods, which often requires hours of jungle hunting. The new stove also removes toxic burning through 3 extractor tubes. Tulum is the site of a pre-Columbian Mayan walled city which served as a major port for Coba, in the Mexican state of Quintana Roo. Tulum is one of the best-preserved coastal Maya sites, and today a popular site for tourists. Organización Soriana is a Mexican public company and a major retailer in Mexico with more than 824 stores. Soriana is a grocery and department store retail chain headquartered in Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico. The company is 100% capitalized in Mexico and has been publicly traded on the Mexican Stock Exchange, Bolsa Mexicana de Valores, since 1987 under the symbol, Soriana. Illinois, Chicago. Chicago area under another air quality alert, but wildfire smoke isn't the culprit. AOL.com. AOL.com. At 179 as of 5 p.m., which is considered to be in the unhealthy range. The PM 2.5 particulates normally associated with that smoke are. Chicago area under another air quality alert, but wildfire smoke isn't the culprit. NBC Chicago. While wildfire smoke has largely been to blame for the poor air quality in Chicago recently, the PM 2.5 particulates normally associated with that. Missouri, St. Louis. Climate change leaves fingerprints on July heat waves around the globe, study says. St. Louis Post-Dispatch. PM 2.5 causes the biggest risk to humans as it can be inhaled deep into human lungs and even enter the bloodstream. New York, Massapequa. Public notices Massapequa Post. Massapequa Post. And gross floor area than permitted by ordinance. Variance to allow existing wood-burning fire pit having less side/front yard setback. The Netherlands. Salvage crews board a cargo ship burning off the Netherlands. The smoke and flames are easing. WODTV.com. The burning vessel was close to the shallow Wadden Sea, a World Heritage listed area that is considered one of the world's most significant habitats. China, Gaofeng. Air quality in Gauteng at dangerously high levels this winter. Daily Maverick. Daily Maverick. With harmful pollutants like fine particulate matter reaching the cubic meter of PM 2.5 or fine particulate matter since at least 2018. Dear 10 attorneys general suing the EPA to provide clarity to indoor residential wood stove owners on certification of their currently used and currently polluting appliances. The states involved are Alaska, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington, as well as the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency. Contact emails or website contact forms for 10 attorney generals. Attorney.general@alaska.gov Alaska AG email. EJ@ilag.gov Illinois AG Environmental Justice email. https://formsoffice.com/pages/response-baggy-asbxid equals asvztduyyyscgbmpnmoxscrvnjirdividlonjqsfvaqkrvnetovzfcrlzc Maryland AG online contact form. https://mossego.highlandcloud.com/203appnet/unityform.aspx ? Key =UF Massachusetts AG online contact form. https://www.ag.state.mn.us/office/forms/consumer assistance request.asp Minnesota AG consumer assistance. https://www.newjerseyoag.gov/contact/office-of-constituent-services New Jersey AG constituent services online contact form.
https://newjerseyknsumerfairs.state.nj.us/file--- #@=8-6869-EA11-80500600506906 session ID =402D38F5-4C22-EE11- 80D5-005056BA24CD New Jersey AG General Consumer Complaint Not Price Gouging Online Contact Form. https://ag.ny.gov/contact-attorney-general-letitia-james New York AG Online Contact Form. Attorney General at doj.state.or.us Oregon AG email. https://ago.vermont.gov/contact-form Vermont AG online contact form.
https://fortress.wa.gov/atg/formhandler/ago/contact form.aspx Washington AG online contact form. A new icon has been added to the ROSUP website, which is now the nearest right icon. The icon is an ask that has already been described in episodes 56 GB, description of the parties who should be at the table when deciding on safe wood stove emission limits and fence line measurements, rather than wood stove certification, and 56 GBA, emails to contact 10 attorneys general. Those 2 PDFs are included at the icon link. Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, see https://rawscpresidents.wordpress.com and click on the nearest right icon for the ask. Contact 10 Attorneys General https://rawscpresident.wordpress.com/please contact Attorneys General about August suit versus CPA asking for certainty for wood stove users. ROSUP asks for complaint-based SITM based on PM monitor data exceeding EP/. To the right of that, Barbie goes to the dating game https://rawscpresidents.wordpress.com. 1 Barbie goes to the dating game / to the right of that, cookies that may contain rocks are recalled https://rawscpresidents.wordpress.com/ cookies that may contain rocks are recalled to the right of that, the fox owns the forest card game. https://rawscpresidents.wordpress.com/ the fox owns the forest card game TBA. Then to the right of that, the latest month, July 2023, of PDFs of articles with URLs to search on https://rawscpresidents.wordpress.com/ 1-July-2023-PDFs-of-URLs to the right of that, stickers to hand out for ROSUP, games such as 1, Bingo for ROSUP, 2, Crosswords for ROSUP, 3, End Wood Smoke Jeopardy! 4, End Wood Smoke Monopoly 5, vending machines for PM 2.5 monitors, and icon links to 30-minute YouTube videos and Spotify podcasts as well as podcasts.google.com, CastBox and Pocket Cast. Pocket Cast is only free on the phone app. Pocket Cast works on Apple phones, and, below those icons, icon links to monthly URLs of PDFs from June 2023 to May 2022.